good, you fam, and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time, make sure you guys comment down below, make sure you guys subscribe, turn on those post notifications so you guys are notified every single time I drop a video. So this is a continuation of my YouBook. Last time I was talking about my abusive relationships and my miscarriages, and I also told you guys that after all of that I ended up moving back to Michigan and trying to start a good life, but unfortunately things did not go as I wanted to. So once again I ended up getting into a bad crowd, and I ended up staying with these people. I started to stay longer and longer. Mail started to come through and things like that for me while I was there. I just basically got comfortable, and surprisingly a check comes in the mail in my name, and like any dumbass would do but at that time I was struggling a little bit, so I'm sitting here thinking to myself like, maybe this is like a gift from God, or what I'm saying, maybe this is like a blessing or something, so stupid. So once I did that, everything was kind of good. I paid my rent, got things that I needed, you know what I'm saying? And I ended up, thought I was good, right? So I wasn't. 2 years later, I ended up applying for a job and passed the test with flying colors, really did a good job. They were super excited, like, oh my God, you the first person that, aced the test, I can't wait to have you, on board. So I ended up getting my background check back, and she was like, you got a warrant for your arrest. It's 2 years old. Like, you might want to go check that out, right? And I'm like, Lord have mercy, like, why every time I try and do something positive with my life, something happens, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, Lord have mercy. So that very day, I ended up going to the court, and I ended up showing up like maybe 15-20 minutes before 12. So at 12, they normally go on their lunch break, right? So I ended up getting there and missing the judge. And I had to stay, for the weekend. I was so mad. You guys, because I went to jail before, in my last videos. Make sure you guys go watch that. I went to jail before, but this one was a little more scarier because I'm a little older now, I'm over the age of 18, so I'm going to real jail, so that's all that was going through my mind, so I ended up, staying for that weekend, and I ended up going to jail, and I ended up being let go. Thank God. I ended up being let go, and I ended up being on probation, right? So I'm like, okay, cool, that's good, so I end up still staying with these same people, and one of the guys that were staying there, I guess seeing a relationship status kind of going on, and at that time I wasn't really trying to mess around with nobody because hello, I've been through enough, so I really wasn't trying to do that, so he didn't like that, and so he started to be mean to me, you know what I'm saying? Like, he just started like, and not necessarily like mean, but just like rude, you know what I'm saying? Like, every little thing I said, he had like a little smart response, or, it was just always something, and I'm sitting there like, yeah, I know, it's because I told you that I wasn't interested, so now you trying to do little stuff, so I'm gonna fast forward it like maybe 2 weeks, I end up having to go to my probation officer and do my little annual check-ins that they normally do, right? So I kind of felt a pit in my stomach. Like when I got there, it was like, yeah, something's not right, So once I got there, the police officers was there, and my probation officer's like, I'm gonna have to put you under arrest. And I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, yeah, we got a call in and said you had weapons on you, and yeah, that's a violation of your probation, so you're gonna have to go straight to jail. And at that time, I'm like, you could check my stuff, you could do whatever you need to. Like, I don't have a weapon, you know what I'm saying? But I guess because of the call, it was still like somewhat a violation. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? So I ended up going to jail. So I ended up spending like maybe 3 months in jail due to me going to school. And I also ended up getting trustee. So yeah, how I got trustee was, I guess it boiled down to who did the worst crime and who did the most pettiest crime. And my crime was a little petty. So I ended up getting trustee. I was the first one. And everybody in the cell was like 12 girls. They were all mad that I ended up getting trustee or whatever. So people was trying to start arguments with me. You feel what I'm saying? In order for me to lose my position at getting it, you know? So it was this one girl named Tweety. I will never, ever, ever forget her. And she really looked like a bird. Like, she really looked like a pigeon or whatever. So the name fit her so good. And she was pregnant. So she decided that she wanted to start an argument with me. We playing cards. I think we was playing spades. And she got an attitude because I was winning. So I'm like, it already got to my mind like, yeah, she trying to fuck up, you know what I'm saying, what I got when it comes to trustee. Because who gonna get mad over that? You know what I'm saying? So I let her talk. So I got in her face and I'm like, bitch, you know what I'm saying? Don't fuck with me, you know what I'm saying? Like, her crime was like 10 times worse than mine was. So she wouldn't have never gotten it in the first place. You feel what I'm saying? But she felt the need to try to, you know what I'm saying? But I already caught on. But like right when we were arguing, the cop came by and he was like, everything's all right in here? And I'm like, yeah, everything's okay. You feel what I'm saying with me, you know? But like no more than an hour later, I ended up getting called to be trustee. So I ended up moving out of the cell, and it was like they moved me to like a different cell that was like more secluded. Actually, it was cleaner than most of the cells. Like it seemed like the trustees area was just more cleaner. But I ended up getting there and I shared it with 2 other girls or whatever, and did my whole, 3 months or whatever, getting out, So I ended up getting out Thanksgiving and trying to go back to that job. They was not having it because she did mention like, if I got everything figured out that, she had a job for me. But once I got there, I guess, she had already had all the positions filled and I didn't, get the job done. It was 3 months. You know what I'm saying? Who gonna wait that long? So things didn't quite work out. So a little after that, I started, trying to apply to different schools. I ended up going to like this continuation school. So they ended up referring me to Job Corps, and I ended up going to Job Corps. So Job Corps was like so lit for me. I absolutely loved going to Job Corps. I honestly wish I can go back. If you guys don't know what Job Corps is like it's like a place where, they adopt kids and they teach them all kind of trades and have you, successful in life, So I did nursing, they had barber, they had security, they had just a little bit of everything. And of course I was, I wanted to be a nurse. So that's what I did. Waking up every morning and having something to do, getting dressed, putting on some scrubs, you know what I'm saying? That really, really felt good. And I met a lot of really, really good people there. Unfortunately, I ended up leaving Job Corps when I was 75% complete in my trade. So I ended up leaving there, and yeah, Job Corps was a beautiful, beautiful. I wonder if they still do that. I don't think they do anymore, but yeah, Job Corps was a really good thing. But I always wanted to try to pursue nursing again, but it's a lot of things that required you know what I'm saying, you to be a really, really good nurse, and I don't feel like I had the stomach for it. So shout out to all my nurses out there. So yeah, I felt like I had to fix the camera. So after, you know, Job Corps and everything else, I'm gonna fast forward it a couple times. I ended up finally, this was like maybe, I'm gonna say like maybe 2 months, I want to say. Yeah, 2 months. I finally ended up getting my own place. Because I was staying in a shelter. I was staying in the shelter for a while after that incident, because, you know, I just didn't want to stay with nobody no more. I didn't want to do any of that. So I ended up, you know, staying at the shelter for a couple months, and I ended up leaving once I got my place. I was so happy about having my first apartment. Like, I felt like I was on top of the world, you know what I'm saying? And it was one of those type of apartments where they go by your income and things like that. So I didn't have much income, so my rent was only $25, which was lit. Yeah. So that was good. So I ended up, you know, paying just very, very little in order for me to get my little 1-bedroom. I had certain people that would help me, you know what I'm saying, furnish it. So it wasn't much, but it was mine, you know. Man, when I first got there, I must have snatched those keys from him, and I turned on all the lights, and I turned them off, and I ran the water, and I flushed the toilet, ran shower water. I just couldn't believe that I was finally at that moment to where, okay, I have an apartment now. Yay, you know. I ended up having my apartment for like 1.5 years, and I ended up going back to California because my grandmother had passed away. But I ended up staying there longer than I intended to. So when I did go back to, you know what, I ended up telling a certain someone to make sure that my apartment was okay, you know what I'm saying, if they needed anything to let me know. And they completely did not do that. So I ended up losing my apartment, unfortunately. And when I ended up meeting back with my high school sweetheart, and he ended up, you know, trying to pay, you know, what was supposed to have been paid, and things just didn't work out. I guess I had just came a little too late, and I had enough time to go to my apartment, get everything that I needed, and get out, you know. And I was so disappointed. But, you know, I felt like my grandmother was more important, you know. So I ended up losing it, you know. When we got in there, it was a little ghetto apartment, you know what I'm saying? So when I got in there, when they got whiff that I guess I was getting evicted or whatever the case may be, they broke into it and they threw the clothes all around. They busted the screens out of the windows, left them open, you know. So when we got in there, it was like moths and things like flying around. It was super cold. Like, they just completely ransacked my apartment, you know what I'm saying? And it baffled me because I didn't know anybody, you feel what I'm saying? Like, I really didn't fuck with nobody too much. So it was like, who in the hell broke in my apartment? And you know another trifling thing they did? They put oil, like it was like a electric stove, and they put oil all in through it. I don't know why. I guess they're trying to blow me up. I have no idea, but they completely just stole all my food, everything, you know. And I ended up losing my place. Ended up staying with one of my homegirls for a little bit, and at that moment I was just like, you know what, it ain't happening. So I ended up going back to California, you know, to go stay with my dad. And yeah, I got more stories for you guys. So make sure you guys comment down below. Make sure you guys subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you guys are notified every single time I drop a video. And another video will be coming up. Okay? I'm out. Peace.